welcome to TrishRockTV, interviews with people on purpose, loving life. Today's special guest is the incredible Kristine Matheson, best-selling author, inspirational and motivational speaker. Kristine is an international best-selling author, co-author of Olivia Newton-John's Live Wise recipe book, professional speaker, workshop, retreat and seminar facilitator, and the creator of The Forgotten Secrets. She is the winner of International Women's Day Outstanding Inspirational Role Model Award 2011 and nominated and published in Who's Who of Australian Women. Kristine was also awarded Professional of the Year in her field of health, wellness and fitness, and published in Worldwide Publishing for empowering executives, professionals and entrepreneurs around the globe, 21st edition USA. Kristine's high-impact wellness protocols have inspired and empowered thousands of men and women around the world to pursue a healthier lifestyle and to live a more productive life. Her objective is to motivate, inspire, and impart the forgotten secrets of wellness to the work environment and the wider community in order to implement simple, easy lifestyle changes to live a healthy and productive life. It is the spirit of achievement that underpins Kristine's philosophy on life, and as a speaker with her messages of faith in one's own ability to heal, Kristine will open the hearts and minds and draw them into her unique and compelling experiences. Her story is a magnificent example of turning fear into courage and failure into success. Kristine's recovery from a terminal cancer diagnosis and told to get her affairs in order tested her resolve. With the unwavering determination, she rebuilt her body, mind and spirit. Today, telling her story about her experiences with not only cancer, depression, stress-related chronic fatigue, the loss of a multi-million-dollar business, her home, the loss of a child, provides knowledge, hope, and inspiration to others through her dynamic presentations. Since 2009, Kristine has successfully worked with thousands of people during their wellness journey, and she has extensive experience presenting seminars and workshops to live audiences. She has successfully facilitated over 30 wellness retreats, and it is my great pleasure to introduce Kristine. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Trish. But look, it's great to be here. Goodness me, that was a long intro on me. I didn't realise how much it was. I'd sent you.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's years and years of doing stuff.
You know, it's all relevant, and that's why I said, that's why I mentioned in the beginning that I needed to read it all because it's all really relevant. And
Yes.
You've had such a massive experience since 2005 and many things in 15 years that people wouldn't go through in a lifetime.
No.
So, it's certainly you've certainly deserved all of the accolades and 30 retreats. That's incredible that you've.
Yes, we used to run them regularly, and of course when the COVID-19, I decided I wasn't going to run anymore, but I'm missing them. And as a matter of fact, I had a call from a gentleman today. He said, "When's your next retreat?" And I said, "Well, when they open the borders and let us run them, Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to being able to put them back together again, because we've always had a mixture of people who wanted to prevent as well as people who are trying to overcome their cancer, who just want to do things mostly people who have come to my retreats are people who have just wanted to choose a natural way of living their lifestyle and not being poisoned by things that actually affect the immune system. Yeah. So it's we're looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, I bet. And so, Kristine, tell me, before you had these issues with health and the kind of other things that rolled over after that, were you on a wellness journey before that?
Yes, look, I was actually coming through having Epstein-Barr virus in the late 80s, ended up with chronic fatigue, ended up in full-time stress mode through the fact that I met my husband in 1985 and early 1985, and we were singers and dancers. That's how we met. That was the sort of
Something else.
We did more and dancing and everything, but I met him doing a show, and within a very short period of time, I moved up to Springbrook in the mountains here on the Gold Coast, and he was semi-retired. And he was a semi-retired builder, and I came from Sydney, and I was a fashion designer down there and an interior designer. But I didn't do much in the interior design because I automatically went into fashion, and I was in Mode magazine and Vogue and all those wonderful things that nowadays you have to pay a fortune to get into. But it was a lot easier back in the 70s and 80s, and on TV and all those sorts of stuff. So I ended up moving in with him, and thought for a while it was great, you know, but I was a city girl, and I saw us, and we took the children on. I took his children on as well as my own. So we had this big family all of a sudden, and not enough money really to come into the house. I mean, the property up there was great. It was there was a meditation center that my husband built.
Oh, beautiful.
Out of mud bricks, actually. It's called the Roundhouse.
Wow.
And we used to do a newsletter out of there called We Are All One.
Oh,
and when I met him, I took over doing the newsletter. It was quite, and you know, you'd send out, and we'd get donations for it, and it was all the old stenciling. You know, remember the old stenciling? You know, where you had to put it through stenciling, and then you'd post it all out to everybody. We'd had people from Tibet came there, and people from Sai Baba's people came there and sent us some tabooty, and we had all these people from all over the world coming into this Roundhouse because they'd heard about it.
Wow.
Anyway, one thing led to another where I said, look, we've got to grow. We've got to do something more than just semi-retire up here because we're not going to last. And he had a little bit of money in the bank, etc. And we were very fortunate that we met a solicitor that actually introduced us to a big project, because Wayne had built the first brick veneers here on the Gold Coast with his dad, and he was a third generation builder, and originally from New Zealand. So his father had taught him to do everything except the electricals on a building site. I learned how to build a house from the ground up. I actually dug footings with him and everything in the early days.
Yeah.
So then we'll give it our first big job in Middle Street in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I was given the interior design for that. It was how many? I think it was 56 units, townhouses.
Gosh.
And it was on terrible land. It was sort of, you know, swampy sort of, and the soil was really red. And I guess it's what set us back off to start building the business back up. And we built a multi-million-dollar business up together, and ended up having a huge staff. And actually, in fact, we made more money when he and I and one of my sons and his daughter, the four of us were just doing stuff. We were doing really well, but then we brought other people into it, and that was our downfall. Yeah. So
and did you get sick doing that as well, or is that
the stress? Getting back to what I sort of felt like I needed to give you the long story, because the constant stress, and because Wayne and I are both perfectionists, and that made it harder, because any little thing that would go wrong on a job, you take it personally. Absolutely. You know, it could have been, it's a subcontract as well, but you take it personally. So, you know, it was constant stress, and having people work for us that, like, we had two estimators, for instance, that did the job that I would do, and I was doing the accounts as well, and that Tamara, our daughter, was helping us with, and we'd do it faster than they would, you know, and yet they were paying they were being paid, back then they were being paid about 120 grand each. You know, it was a lot of money. Yeah, it was a big money, and we were doing better. Yeah. And I put a manager into the business, and that gave me a lot of stress too. And I'd had some time out, and that's when he put people into our business that we were taken for $7 million. So it was sort of, we lost everything, our home and everything. And it's like as though it's this nightmare that went through, but it was the stress of all that that sent the cancer through my body. And you know, ironically, I was a vegan back then, but you're not necessarily healthy just because you're a vegan.
No.
Raw food went into my mouth. I used to eat a lot of cooked food.
Yeah.
And no eggs or anything like that, which I ended up introducing into my cancer program. But it's been an interesting journey because it's been a very soul-searching journey.
Absolutely.
We're still broke all the time. I don't know. I mean, God always sends money to us in sort of little dribs and drabs at different times to say, right, we get to a point where you feel as though you've got about $10 in the bank, and the next minute there's a lot more, you know, like something happens and you go, oh, okay. And so we've, and through this very stressful time for a lot of people through the COVID, which I hate that word. If I hear it one more time and I'm saying it myself, it's actually been a time for me to sit back and reflect and to see where and what I want to do, really.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, it's really been a time the last couple of months where I feel it's been an opportunity for people to get out of all of that hustle and bustle and pushing and doing and overdoing. Oh, have I lost you?
We've stopped.
Oh, you froze. Froze. Anyway.
So did you froze too.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, it's got your internet connection is unstable. Thanks a lot.
Oh, come on, Spirit. Give us a break, Spirit.
Yeah, give us a break tonight. I don't know why it's going all whoopsie-doo on us.
Anyway.
You know what I might do next time? What I might do well, hopefully we will have a next time. I might get it away from what we have here in the house and put my phone next to it to boost the, matter of fact, I perhaps maybe that's what was wrong before.
Maybe
it's the internet connection here, but
yeah,
I'll put my phone and we'll hotspot.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll just chop this bit out. So which point did I get to? Oh, so I was just about to say that, you know, over the last couple of months, I feel it's been a beautiful opportunity for everybody to slow down and go within.
Yes.
And really find the satisfaction in life without all of that push and that shove and that doing and that hustle. Because ultimately, does it bring you happiness? You know, in some ways it does, but there are other ways to also feel abundant and happy as well. And I just feel we've all been given that opportunity, but for you, you know, it's been the wellness journey and you've had to stop, you've had to slow down. And so not only with the foods that you're actually feeding your body, when you're at your retreats and when you're helping people, it's do you talk about what goes through your mind as well? Because thoughts are very pleasing too, aren't they?
They are. You end up, I'm just going to pot spot us just in case anyway. Okay. I just don't want to. Yeah, I just want to just automatically do that so we can get better reception. Yes, look, yes, it's been actually, I'd actually gained a fair bit of weight. I'm losing it now. I've lost 7 kilos, you know, and I'd actually putting weight on all the time because of the stress, you know. And I've dropped 7. I've still got a little way to go for my happy, you know, how I like to be happy. But yeah, we've taken the time out, and I think everybody needs to look at this. Like, I mean, we went to the beach every day and got the sand between our toes, even when, you know, like everybody was closed down, but we were still allowed to walk on the beach in the Gold Coast here.
Oh, yeah.
And we went for a swim every day, and it was just exhilarating.
Yeah. And,
you know, and that's,
a beautiful environment, isn't it? So
yes, it is. It is. It's been a totally energizing period of time. I mean, I'm busting to get back into action.
Yeah.
And because, you know, I don't think I could ever be. I mean, I turned 70 this year, and in July, just in about another month. And I know that some people say, oh, you should be retiring. I say, you have got to be kidding.
No.
When I retire, I'll be in my 90s or 100s or something when I retire. Oh, and it's because I wake up one morning dead, you know.
Yeah, you know? I don't even register with the word retire. Like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? I'm the same. And yet people have this my children have this fixed thing, you know, I've got a son that has this, and Wayne's children, they have this fixed idea that, well, you know, you've had a real struggle and you're at a certain time in your life, you should be retiring. But we always said that we'd never retire.
No, no.
You know, so it's not who we are.
Well, it's not the paradigm that's in the world anymore either. You don't go to school, go to uni, get a job, have your 2.4 children, get your mortgage, then retire, and then, you know, go holidaying when you're 65. It's just not the thing that people...
It's not there anymore, is it?
And thank goodness. And I think there's always been people like you and I who don't fit into that structure. And I think it's a crazy structure. It's never been one for me. So you'll be back at work soon, and you know, really at your retreats and helping people. So what advice would you give to the people listening about how we can rejuvenate and renew our health no matter what chronic illness we have? Is there a few like standard things that you would recommend?
Yes, well, firstly, I mean, as you've probably heard over the last few years as well, I mean, I was working on gut health for a long time, even before I had cancer, actually.
Yeah.
But gut health is really, really important. And if people don't know how to get their gut right, and one of the things I find too, even some of the naturopathic university, my husband's at university finishing off his Bachelor of Health Science in naturopathy. And one of the things I noticed when he came home with the gut health program is like candida, for instance. They had things in there that I know feed the candida, and I was horrified, of course, when I see some of the stuff that's there.
Yeah.
So, but gut health's really, really important, and I have a step-by-step program in regards to my book, you know, for people to do that. And that's what they've got to do first. Well, actual fact, what they really have to do first, especially if they've got any chronic illness that's going to affect whether they live or die, is they've got to get over fear.
Yes. Yeah.
My look, you know, I said to Wayne, I'm going to put a little online course together. And the very first thing that I want to attack is fear.
Yeah. Do you think that accelerates any chronic illness that people have?
Oh, of course it does. I mean, look, I know when I first was diagnosed, I went numb to start with because I was told I was going to die and all this sort of stuff. And I thought, hang on, I'm supposed to do something bigger than this. You know, like I'm not supposed to be dead, you know. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And after about 2 weeks, I went into a fear mode, you know, so I had to work on myself, and I had to do a lot of meditation. I went to the Chenrezig Institute, which is a Tibetan institute up in the Sunshine Coast. And I spent a few days there, and I worked with my angels and with God and whoever, you know, like people have all their different visions of God and all that. So, you know, we work with everybody whose faith, because look, it comes from love. But God is love to me. It's not the other way around. If people fear God, it's absolute rubbish. Yeah. And you know, I had my angels around me, and I could feel them, and I could see lots of things and I did my affirmations, and I worked with all that, and I got rid of that subliminal message that I was going to die. Yeah. I cut myself totally off from every medical person that I knew, one of which was a holistic doctor who was working with me over a period of time with chronic fatigue. She became a friend later on, and I actually taught her about food, and she taught me about nutritional supplements, how to work with both. Yeah. And so she'd already taught me about the supplements when I had cancer, but then I walked out. I said to her, I was going there every day to her surgery. Everybody would burst into tears when I walked in. They were putting me on all these energy machines and all this sort of stuff, and I just went, I'm walking in my sickness. I'm getting out of here. Yeah. And I'm going to take over. So that's when I went to Chenrezig, worked on the fear factor, got rid of it all, and then just intuitively worked on my program. I was sent the messages about what I needed to do.
And started to heal. And you know, and you would know this about the medical profession. I mean, obviously we need them, but people get into that fear. Yes. And, you know, if they get told you've only got 6 months to live, 90% of people only live the 6 months because they get...
That's right, they'll take it on. And that's what I was told, 6 months, 12 if I was real lucky.
And you don't have
I
to keep that on. You don't have to.
no.
All of that's fear. So this is really important work that you're doing to really, get people back
Yeah.
in control of their own bodies and their own
Well,
health.
they do. They have to think of the word love
Yes.
next to fear. They've got to get rid of the fear. They've got to pull the love in.
Yeah.
And some people don't understand the true meaning of love,
No.
because love is the body. Love is everything. Love is God. Love is,
Yeah.
we have to love ourselves and put the nutrients in our body that our body needs, because there's a malfunction there.
Yeah.
I had a call from a woman today who said, I've got your book. And she said, I bought it a long time ago. She said, and your second edition is out. And she said, do you think I should buy this for my friend? And I said, yes, of course, because it's got a bigger, I've expanded on it. When you're working with people over the years, the little parts that are missing that people ask you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to expand on it, so I made it more like a manual, so that I didn't have to, not that I don't want to work with people, but I didn't have to explain so much,
Yes.
to people.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot easier, so I could, so it was sort of a little bit more black and white, even though the first editions, it was really good for some people. Some people, because it was new to them, didn't get it.
Yeah.
So I had to sort of expand a little bit. So I said, yes, of course. And she said, she's going in to have, they told her that they couldn't do anything for her, she said to me today. And she said, but she met a doctor that said he's going to do some chemotherapy on with her. And I said, why? My question is, why?
Yeah.
And she said, they think that if they do so many, they'll get rid of the tumour. And I said, oh my goodness. I said, look, just share with your friend that the tumours disappear when you get your body right, and you don't affect your immune system in a negative way. So it's, she said, she's got a lot of pressure from her family. I said, I've heard that before. I've seen people pass away because of the pressure of the family.
You get a lot of pressure, and and I think until the bulk of society, until there's like over the 50% mark that kind of take back control of their own body, I think there's still going to be many people, and there's nothing wrong. We're not saying there's anything wrong with the medical profession, but there's other options. There's other options.
Yeah. Look, the medical profession in many ways do a great job. There's a lot of things that they do that is saving lives. So I'll never trash the medical profession. But when it comes to cancer, I'm sorry, guys, they don't know what they're doing. And I just, and I'm not trashing them. I'm just saying they just don't know.
No.
They haven't been taught about food. I work with holistic doctors all the time. And I'm the one that teaches them about food.
About the food and also, the mind and,
and the mind's very important.
Because you may reduce that tumour and you may get the diagnosis you're cancer free. But if you continue with the poisonous thoughts and the poisonous food, it's going to come back.
Well, that's right. Well, look what Louise Hay, what did she say? That cancer comes from, I think she said something about hatred or,
it's anger and resentment.
Anger it was. And I was angry when I got cancer. And I was angry at this manager that we had in there, that I was so angry, and I kept wanting my husband to get rid of him. But he kept saying, we can't because of this, and, giving all the excuses in the world of why he couldn't. Yeah. And yet I probably should have walked in and said, go, and we would still have our life. But then again, I was sent this for a reason.
Absolutely.
Do you want to know something ironic? Wayne and I had wanted a healing centre for 17 years before I had cancer. He'd had cancer in 1980.
Wow.
We actually were negotiating before I was diagnosed, before we lost everything, and before I was diagnosed with cancer. We were negotiating to buy an island up north to put a healing centre on it, because we lost everything. Beautiful. It was a $3 million island, right? And then we lost it all.
Yeah.
And I went, what's that all about?
Yeah.
So I realised that I had a lot to learn.
Yeah.
a huge amount to learn. So I was given the gift of cancer,
Yeah.
so that I could help other people.
Yeah.
And because I said to Wayne after I got over everything, and I started thinking about writing a book, and I thought, oh, you know, and of course all my family just laughed at me, because I mean, my English teacher used to throw blackboard dusters at me and tell me, you know, to wake up, and, you know, I'll never be as good as my sister, and I'll never become anybody's secretary, as if I wanted to be anybody's secretary anyway.
Oh,
And I left school at 15.
We don't.
I have a better understanding of English, as most people do, more than most people.
Yeah.
And you know, self-taught everything, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, so anyway, the book, as I said, the book was I wrote the book with lighting candles around me, doing my meditation, bringing in the energy of God, and I was getting and it was just like as though I was guided all the way through.
Beautiful. It was definitely meant
It
to
was
be.
really incredible, that experience.
Yeah.
And I was surrounded by candles. I'd do it every morning.
Beautiful.
And back then I had a computer that had a little CD player in the inside.
Yeah.
And I'd insert my little meditation.
Beautiful.
And then I'd do what I just needed to do, you know, and it just happened.
Such a beautiful gift, and that's obviously helping a lot of people as well.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so with the prevention and with the prevention and the survival of cancer due to your positive experiences, obviously your natural protocols, they're all in the book, and they're in the courses that you run and the retreats.
Yes, yes, they are. Well, the retreats aren't so much of like they've always been weekend retreats, but I'm going to now do 10-day retreats or 7-day retreats. I think
for people mainly with a chronic disease, or anybody interested.
No, I want people to prevent. One of the reasons I changed the name of my book, I had my first book was From Cancer to Wellness, The Forgotten Secrets, a step-by-step handbook for beating cancer. The second book is I've written for preventing and surviving cancer.
Perfect, because beating is the energy of war, isn't it, and fighting.
Yes, yeah. So I changed the sort of that little tagline, and it's also too because I get so many people coming to the retreats that wanted to overcome other chronic illnesses.
Yeah.
And I've worked with people with multiple sclerosis, and I've worked with people with depression and diabetes and heart disease, all these things. And it's quite interesting how people just getting their gut right, how it changes everything. And the retreats, though, have always been 100% raw. So when they come in on a Friday night, they get raw pizza, and it's all full of all this beautiful food, and a raw cake, and all the meals. I have a dessert with every single meal.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is because I'm trying to teach them how you can actually eat healthy cakes.
Yes.
That actually are full of protein. I mean, I make my husband little carrot cakes on a regular basis. You know, I used to do a big one, but now I just do little bubby ones.
Do the little ones.
The same mixture.
And there's so many.
And put the little. It's because it's full of goodies. It's full of protein. It's got Brazil nuts in it. It's got, it's got carrot juice. It's got a whole heap of goodies in there.
Absolutely.
That are good for the body.
Yeah. And I see there's a lot of recipes now for raw food with avocado, and that's beautiful for desserts and things like that too. So
well, it is. Yeah, I do a lime vanilla cheesecake. I call them cheesecake, but they're vegan. And the top layer, the lime top layer, has got avocado in it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's everybody's favourite at the retreat. They love it.
So the people retreat, you give them an introduction into how exciting food can be. It doesn't have to be boring, just a green salad.
That's right.
But I think, what else you're giving them is the change of perspective on actually how they can control their body. They can make.
That's right. Yeah.
And I have heard, I know with gut health, I have heard that a lot of people say the gut is like the brain of the body.
It's, well, it is a second brain, and they call it a second brain
Yes.
because what you put in here, actual fact, gives you the, you know, helps your brain to function properly.
Yeah.
And if you're feeding it the right food, then you're not going to get those foggy heads and all that other stuff that goes on.
Absolutely.
But it's feeding all the nutrients throughout your body, which actual fact affects your brain. You know,
and it affects mood as well, which then affects your thoughts.
yes,
And it's all just this knock-on effect, isn't it? You can't just treat one thing.
it is.
Yeah, you can't just treat one thing and have it all just, you know, all working together. You've got to do it all as a whole. It's a really holistic approach.
It is. And I mean, look, you know, when we put these longer retreats together, I'm going to be doing 80% raw because that's how I want people to live. And that's how my book's written.
Yes.
When we do the 100% raw, I do notice that there's a huge difference in people's health just over a weekend.
Wow.
They walk in. The very first retreat we did, I was really nervous because there was 22 people and there was quite a few cancer people amongst those 22 people. Yeah. And I was really worried, right? And I had all these people walking in and people who didn't have cancer and they were, you know, tired and they felt awful and they felt like as though, you know, felt drained out. They walked in on a Friday and we got a standing ovation on the Monday.
Wow.
Of people, they were just feeling so terrific. And I've seen that a lot. They come in all the time. They come in feeling a bit, you know, off, and they walk out of a Monday feeling $1 million.
What a beautiful...
It's just incredible.
That's such a beautiful purpose and work that you're doing in the world, isn't it, really? And
yeah, look, I love it. And I know that I was a bit worn out before the COVID. And I said, well, I'm not doing any more retreats. It's too much because I work. See, people don't realise that I work in the kitchen 2 to 3 weeks prior to a retreat, doing pre-prep for food, because I do all my sauces. I do lasagnas, I do tacos. I mean, I do little raw tacos, and I do the filling for those as well, and I freeze everything, and I do raw ravioli, and it goes on, you know. And so everything goes in all these things go in the freezer, including all the cakes. So then we travel to the retreat with everything frozen and unpack them and take them out when we need to, you know, including I do raw pizza bases. And it's just incredible the work that I do prior to a retreat.
Absolutely.
A lot of work goes into it and it's full on at the retreat.
A lot of people who do run retreats have them catered so they don't have to do that work that you're doing.
Yeah, but I can't do that. I got to control what goes. I had shingles once and we had a retreat coming up and I got people to come in and who I paid to help me pre-prep, and a lot of the stuff had to be redone again. And I got my husband actually and my girlfriend Donna, who actually comes to the retreats with me. I had them in the kitchen and they did a great job. And this girl was supposed to be this raw food wonderful chef and she ruined so many things. I went, oh my God. So I kind of a little bit of a control freak when it comes to that. I mean, I do have a couple of girls that come to the retreat and do stuff for me that are great now, but it's taken a while. But the pre-prep, I like to kind of like put the love into it myself.
Well, because it's an energetic thing as well, Kristine. You know, your love and your energy is going into what you cook, which is also a healing when people are enjoying it and eating it.
That's right, exactly.
So the retreats are kind of the main thing that you do to help people. Do you run courses or do?
Yes, I do. I do workshops and we do seminars. We were before this. I won't even call it the thing that we've just gone through because I don't want to hear the word again.
The break. Before the break.
Yeah, before the break. Yes, before the break. I was just about to take off and get to do a whole heap of seminars and workshops again, and the retreats. And all of a sudden, hang on, what's all this about? But I'm going to try.
The break has given you time to plan more.
Yes, yeah. And I was going to put this little course together, and I don't know whether I still want to actually, because I think I'm talking about an online course because we've had to do everything so much online. And I'm still toying as to whether I want to do that because I keep getting blockages.
It might not be the thing. Do You
I
do.
think I'm a people person, you see, so I've got to have that
Yeah.
being in the company of others,
Yeah.
and I like working, you know, with people.
Yeah.
I like the energy. So I think that's I love doing so. My biggest love is I think is standing on stage without ego. It's kind of, there's no ego attached to this, but sharing what I know.
Absolutely. To
And being a guest speaker, you know, but I actually want to get paid for being a guest speaker for a change. You know, I've done so much guest speaking over the years and it's always for free. And you go, oh, you know, geez, I'd like to be able to pay the bills.
And so do you do personal mentoring as well, Kristine?
Yes, I do. Yeah, matter of fact, I've got a gentleman coming to see me on Thursday,
Wonderful.
and he was a referral. And
Oh,
I'm actually I've been invited to do a radio program every Thursday now
oh, fantastic.
for a Melbourne radio station.
Oh, wonderful. That'll really get the message out there.
Yes, I hope so. Well, it was from a gentleman who invited me that actually got over cancer through my program.
Oh, how wonderful.
And yeah, so he and his friend, who also is healthy because of my program, they've actually done a radio course recently and working for, I think it's a community radio, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
one of the Victorian radio stations, and they've been given a program, you know, it's a morning show, so I'll come on every week at 11 o'clock.
Beautiful.
And I'm as happy as Larry. I think, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. That's a great thing to come out of this break, and you just never know where that's going to lead you. So
exactly. Yeah.
So I'll have the details here of your website for people, and they can get on there. They can find your book. They can find your work. What just for everybody who's tuning in to this. What's one piece of advice that you could give to people to really start making a change right now in their everyday life?
Oh, okay. Go into their pantry for a start and get rid of all the rubbish out of there.
Good tip.
Okay. Go into their fridge and ditch it all as well.
Yeah, anything packaged and processed.
Anything's packaged and processed.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I use things like I'll use organic coconut cream out of a tin and all that sort of stuff, you know. Especially, you know, if I've got a lot I've got to do, but you know, I mean, I don't always make my own coconut cream. I can, and I can make my own coconut yogurt. You can do lots of things yourself.
But
I think also it's getting your mind around.
I think so, and checking labels. You know,
check old labels, and labels. Get rid of any sugar, and that doesn't mean, I mean, we live a mostly organic life, mostly organics, but organics don't necessarily mean they're healthy either.
No, you've got to check the labels, and
those labels,
reading them. As soon as you start reading labels and getting the habit of it, the amount of chemicals that are in stuff, and you're like, whoa, okay,
the amount of sugar as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you go into a health food store, and you can go into an organic store, and you can pick up a whole heap of things in that store, and they've got full of sugar.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I found that out years ago, and I went, wow, you know, it's so sugar, dice the sugar. There's a product called Natvia, which is an organic stevia. Now, I used to hate stevia, couldn't stand the stuff, right?
Yeah.
And came across this Natvia, and whatever they've done to this stevia, it doesn't leave that residual chemical in your mouth.
Yeah, okay. Wonderful.
Yeah, but you could also buy your own stevia plants as well if you want, if you're into gardening.
Yeah, but back to the regular person who really is only just exploring this, I mean, it's difficult. It's so mind-boggling and it's so overwhelming. But the first thing they can do is really just check what's actually in their cupboards and their fridge that is full of chemicals, and really just try to
get rid of them. And, you know, start doing things, you know, start doing little recipes. I mean, I've got a recipe book on, you know, which I practically give it away. You know, I should have had it published years ago, but and I still haven't edited it properly. It's still just there with all the recipes. I think after I did Olivia Newton-John's book, I I gave her my cancer to wellness recipes, and so I combined that with my raw recipes.
Yeah.
And I've got this Kristine Matheson's holistic wellness recipe book, and it's got heaps of recipes in there.
Oh, beautiful! So people can find that on your website too.
Yeah, they can download that really easy, you know.
Yeah. So there's always help out there, isn't there? There's always help. There's always information, and every little thing that someone does to adjust their diet will make a difference.
Well, it does, you know. And there's things you give away, like you give away dairy is one of the things you give away. You give away sugar, dairy, meat.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and I'm okay with people who haven't got cancer to have a little bit of organic chicken, a little bit of fish, if it's deep sea fish, even though they say there's still mercury in even the deep sea fishes. Mm. You know, who do you believe nowadays? Because you get told one thing and then you've got the radicals on one end, and you know, and people, I mean, the vegan people will hate me saying this because, you know, I'm very vegan myself in most things I do. Yeah. But also the eggs, you know, eggs are important. For people who've got cancer, they've got to have that. It actually helps detox the body as well, you know, and proteins are healers. So when they're learning to do things and not just go out and get free range chicken eggs, you've got to be organic eggs, certified. Because just because they're free range doesn't necessarily mean they don't give them all sorts of other things. Yeah. So, you know, it's about getting a balance and having that 80% raw, even if they only start off with the lettuce and tomato and onion and carrot and sprouts and all that sort of stuff and the fruit. Yeah. Yeah. You know, like, I mean, people say to me, oh, but you can't have fruit when you've got cancer. I said, right, rubbish. You can't have fruit if you've got candida. Yeah. Which everybody who's got cancer has, I might add. Yeah. So you've got to get your gut health right. So with the fruit, I mean, I had, with my cancer, the moment I did that 30-day, you know, gut program, I did my juicing program. Then I did the fruit, you know, fruit for breakfast. We have fruit nearly every morning in this house for breakfast with cashew cream and almond creams and, you know, there's all sorts of other things you can have, you know, but we do alternate it. But there was one time that was, I suppose for many, many years, I had fruit for breakfast, fruit salad for breakfast. I do a lovely fruit salad, always have passion fruit in it. You can't have a fruit salad without it, as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, and all that sort of thing. So that's how you need to, and I did that. And that was sort of like the first 2 months is sort of all about the gut. Then there's the juicing thing to give your body a rest. Yeah. You know, and you eat in the middle of the juicing program too, to dump your toxins. It helps you dump your toxins. Yeah. And then you go on to your lifestyle program. And it took me 5 months to get over my cancer. Yeah. Well, that's good. And I live that lifestyle. And yes, sometimes I'll go off and have a glass of wine and all that sort of thing too. I love my wine, but I can't drink it regularly. Yeah. I used to drink, I was terrible before. I used to drink too much. Yeah. I mean, not, you know, my husband hasn't had a glass of anything apart from I tried to make him have something at Christmas time and he took one mouthful and he said, forget it. It was since about 1990. Yeah, yeah. He just doesn't like the taste of it. But I love red wine, and I don't have it very often. So so I think for the people who are, you know, going through a healing, a cancer or something, you know, really drastic like that, they need those drastic measures to really make the difference, don't they? But if someone everybody does. Everybody does, but you know, not everybody's going to be motivated just to cut everything out within a week. So they can start just by making small changes that will kind of boost their energy, and then that will produce a new change. Well, that's right. I mean, learn how to make some nice raw cakes, for instance. I always say to people, get rid of your sugar, and if you really love your desserts and things, then start making the raw cakes. Yeah. And you can make them and stick them in the freezer. Yeah, absolutely. That's the beauty of them. And then when you're ready for them, you pull them out and you put them in one of those cake containers. Make them in those those free form or whatever they call them. Those cake tins that you can open up. Yeah. And you know, I mean, I've got to make my own birthday cake for the 19th of July because nobody else knows how to do it. The family are organising. You know, my close friends and. Yeah, a couple of family members are going out and I'm making the cake. It's
fascinating what you can make without sugar, because I know dates make the most beautiful caramel. Dates are just,
Oh, they do.
they're incredible. So,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
well, that's really good advice. So thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me. And I'm sorry we had a few little glitches with the live, and I'll have to go and find out what's going on with my computer, or maybe it's just the internet here.
Oh, I don't know. Just is what it is, I guess, and it's all good. So thank you so much, and for
I
everything.
hope we can get to meet face to face.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So for everybody else who's listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and please get in contact with Kristine. I'll have all her links here, and you can connect with her. And I will see you all next week on Trish Rock TV.
Okay, bye for now.